And
Bradley Hollier, MSL Oilfield Services Incorporated.
excellent. Thank you for joining us today. Mic levels look pretty good there. I'm switching mine up now. Mine don't is good. All right, there we go. Little behind the scenes stuff there. MSL Oilfield Services. And first of all, let's talk a little bit about the COVID-19 shutdown, the coronavirus pandemic, how that's impacting you and your business and your company. Just an update from all the different angles, if you will. And first off, are you guys still, operating and that sort of thing?
Yes, we are. Yeah, for us here in the U.S., it slowed things down as projects were put on hold, and some customers had to curtail production. Same for overseas. Several customers, either curtailing production or projects are put on hold because we can't get personnel into the countries.
It's a personnel issue, not so much a lease or business, I guess, activity issue, more of a personnel issue, huh?
Yes, it is. It's more of a personnel issue for us. The reason being is actually the downturn has actually generated more business for us due to the type of products we have. They're more economical ways to make wells produce more oil.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because you said, a magical phrase that I think a lot of people might want to explore. So me, as my journalist roots and background, I got to ask you, how are you guys finding business, during this downturn? Because it was a very sharp, like I mentioned to somebody, like the spigot just stopped. Yet there are businesses out there that are finding new opportunities. And I've said for a long time, you just got to make a better mousetrap, make a better steak sandwich, and whatever that means in your industry type of a thing. So you guys are one of those companies that are doing that. Talk to me about that if you wouldn't mind.
So we started a couple of years with a product that's, we were introduced to here in the U.S., and we've put in a lot of development and testing behind it in multiple applications around the world. Since we had all the data to move forward, this downturn actually just accelerated those projects because now the economics are even more on our side to start rolling the product and projects out to the customers we've been developing with, particularly overseas and in South America, where, heavy oil and oil quality are a very big challenge.
We had a guy on from Ghana yesterday, a gentleman, Hanks Oils, who he works for, and that just kind of shows the state of oil and gas, where it is a global marketplace at the end of the day. And you've mentioned overseas several times. Talk to me about your international business a little bit. Are you seeing an increase like we've seen here at the Crude Life?
Yes, particularly in heavy oil applications and ultra heavy oil in Oman is where we're concentrating now. Also in the Emirates, a couple of projects in Kuwait. West coast of Africa, we have a few that are ongoing, and then we have some refinery applications as well throughout the Middle East that we're working on. So our product, works on multiple levels, and it can be used on multiple applications. So that's, what we've been testing and working towards setting up our company. We recently just signed several JVs in the Middle East with companies there. So we have approval from several of the NOCs working in those countries.
How about when it comes to the Americas? Are you guys in a number of shale plays? Are you in one more than the other? Talk to me about Shale Play USA.
Well, we have service partners that are working in both the Eagle Ford and the Permian with the product. And then we are working in the Gulf of Mexico, both deep water and shelf, with the product as well. We have several customers there and clients that we're working with. We actually work as a distributor and technical support for the product while they have the application.
Just looking at your... go ahead.
For us, it's been going really good with that.
With the different distributors and just kind of the network you've got built?
Yeah, we do the same thing in South America since we distribute, several different products to these customers. It allows us to use our already built network to get multiple products that are related to either flow assurance or well optimization.
Are you hearing much from South America? I haven't heard much even in the news when it comes to the COVID-19 or the coronavirus down in South America. Are you hearing
Um,
anything?
it's not as widespread. Um, uh, they're all under lockdown as well, except for Brazil. They seem to be the exception to the rule, which is actually working out in our benefit. Um, so yeah, I mean, if I could travel there, if our team could travel there, it'd be a lot better. Just due to the necessity of having someone that does the technical parts of what we're doing on these projects.
Where are you based out of?
I'm based out of Houston.
Okay, you're down in Houston. What's it like down there right now?
It's a bit crazy. Everything's locked down. Nobody can do anything. Most of our customers and contacts, everybody's working from home. So we manage. We do what we can. Just trying to make the best out of the situation.
Well, yeah. I mean, are you guys finding any? Obviously things are going to change, and for everybody it's going to be different. Restaurant industry, they've got their issues. The insurance industries, all kinds of different things. The oil and gas industry, I think that the change is going to be quite remarkable with the amount of remote drilling and some of the big data coming into play. And you take a look at the trajectory, I guess would be the right word, of the paradigm shift that oil and gas was already going through, and then to go kind of get hit by the 1-2 punch of OPEC, Russia, Saudi Arabia, and the coronavirus on the supply and demand shock at the same time, if you will. It just seems, to me that the industry is it's gonna continue on, but it's gonna be a little bit different coming, next year. I'm not sure if I made any sense to you at all, but what do you?
No,
I don't know.
I agree with that. I think there's going to be some changes in the way things are operated. The flexibility for remote operating is probably going to be more prevalent in the future from what we see, which is fine for us because we have a few technologies that, stand alone, run on satellite so they can be monitored from anywhere in the world. So that actually plays into our benefit, the way we work.
How's the pipeline monitoring going? That's just seen some incredible advancements in the last, I don't know, call it 5 years. I mean, it has in the last 15 years, but the last 5 years, the synchronization of drones and on the ground optics, I guess, in agriculture seems like it would have been just a intelligent lateral move to the pipeline industry. I don't know if we're there yet with drones and pipeline inspections syncing up in real time yet. But talk to me a little bit about that innovation in the pipeline industry, if you wouldn't mind, because it's really cool. It's really cool.
So this technology actually uses fiber optic cables that are laid near the pipelines.
Okay.
And they produce an acoustic signal and analyze that signal for any type of intrusion or change in that background noise. From there, it uses artificial intelligence to actually detect and display exactly what the interference is, whether it's a person walking up to a pipeline, machinery, a car, someone's digging, or if it's an animal walking up to it. It can distinguish between all those. At the same time, it can also analyze what's going on inside the pipeline, if there's any type of flow changes, if it's deposition, and then it can also detect, the difference between, say, a hydrate, any type of paraffin or asphaltene deposition. It can tell those things.
That's like the technology in Ocean's 11 or 13, where I think they said that if a shrew was digging next to the casino, they'd know it.
So actually, this technology was developed from Lockheed Martin from their Smart City system. The developers on this, they're out in the UK as well, where my partner is based, and he's been working with these guys for years. And it's a very good piece of equipment, so we got involved with them a couple of years ago and started putting more into the oil and gas applications, specifically around offshore monitoring of flow lines and pipelines.
That's incredible. All that's through acoustic, but that's the world it is. A lot of it's sensors, and sensors go beyond just the visual LiDAR and traditional, 3D type of a thing that people are used to. And you start talking about sound waves and acoustic, that's a whole different level of technology. That's incredible.
Yeah, and this one's a little bit different because it actually uses light through the fiber optic cable. So the sample rate is, thousands per millisecond. So
I have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, start over here.
So you have your sound waves, and then you have light waves. So the frequency is completely different. With the light wave, it's a much faster sampling rate. So if there's ever an intrusion into that environment or just a disruption in the wave frequency, it can detect it at a much faster rate and much more accurate than the previous technologies that were around.
Well, of course, because the speed of light is so much faster than the speed of sound.
Right.
Even on the micro scale like that. And I didn't even realize that because I had never thought of it, but it makes total sense that you could layer those technologies and utilize them off each other, because at the end of the day, they're probably the same. So,
Yeah, this technology was actually using the smart city grid system that Lockheed Martin developed years ago for actually rail monitoring for trains.
Okay.
We've adapted it to pipeline monitoring, and it's used throughout the world. It was originally developed to stop digging and hot tapping of pipelines in third world countries where people were stealing oil and products off of pipelines. So it was actually pinpoint to tell them, if someone's digging in the area, if someone's intruded into that space, so they could actually send out, security.
How many different locations do you guys have? I'm looking at your website right now, and you've mentioned South America, you've mentioned Europe. How many different countries are you guys in, and how many? Just go through that for a sec.
So we have distributors in 126 countries around the world for various products.
Okay.
So our reach is fairly long.
And the reason I ask is I just without giving away your portfolio and your business model or anything like that, are you seeing any trends anywhere from either locations or any certain area of your business? Because even I'm looking at your products, you guys have a lot of different products, and you've mentioned that some different products you've seen that there's a spike in, but are there any trends that you're seeing that you're kind of looking at and just surprised at, either a location or a different part of your industry that has kind of stood out in the last month and a half since the COVID-19 or even since the OPEC pricing happened? Because really that's when a lot of the kind of the struggles and issues and questions started happening in the energy sector.
I would say the ones that have really increased for us is around production optimization, and which is primarily paraffin and asphaltene control. We have products that deal with that particular application, and that seems to be the focus right now because our products are, it's non-intrusive. It's you pump a product, depending on the application, and we've had a really good success with that around the world. That seems to be, the one that's really taken off here in the past few months. We've also had a very good increase in green technologies. We seem to have a lot of interest in that. We're actually developing and registering with the EPA right now a green biocide for the oil and gas market that we've done some testing on and had excellent results on it. For all our indications, the EPA loves it because it's non-toxic not only to animals but non-toxic to humans.
Okay, I could see where the green stuff is really going to take off. That's one of the things I've noticed with the COVID-19 shutdown is the amount of save the planet because humans aren't moving around stories. They've a lot of them popped up, just a lot of them, and I mean it's common sense, but it's just amazing. I read one the other day about the seismic activity on the planet is down, and I'm going, man, people are really spending a lot of resources on this. Holy smokes, man. They're just taking a look at everything here. So anyway, just rather interesting to me. But Talk to me a little bit about, if we missed anything or any thoughts that you might have as I kind of look at the clock here. Appreciate the time. You guys are doing great out there, expanding your business a little bit. It sounds like, and still moving with the distributors and essential. You guys are deemed essential by most of the state and city governments, aren't you?
Yes.
So you got. By the way, is your outside sales affected at all? I know a lot of people on LinkedIn especially like to know what's going on in the world of sales, and I think the office jobs, I think people have a handle on. It's your home office, and however you decorate it, and maybe you got Zoom, and maybe you got Skype, and maybe you got a few other things, but it's the outside salespeople that I think people are curious. What are they doing? How are
Yeah, it's been affected in the way that there's really no way to go meet customers face to face right now. So it's emails, phone calls, and whatever method we can to stay in compliance, with whatever restrictions we have. I know, for instance, I've got customers that have been begging me to go back to the Middle East for the past month, but I can get over there. I just can't get back.
Right. I mean, exactly. So, and there's things like that too, where I've even heard that where, in say Minnesota and North Dakota, up in my neck of the woods, we've got one state on a 2-week, lockdown and the other one's not. So yeah. if you go into the one state's borders, can you get back?
Yeah, we're having that same challenge. We just manage what we can and, deal with it however best way possible.
Well, I'll give you some final thoughts. Anything we missed? Anything you want to reiterate or, plug your business, or maybe you got a good barbecue recipe? I don't know. I like to give guests the final word. So the floor is yours.
Well, I think just encourage everybody, keep moving forward. And as soon as things turn back around and everybody's able to get back to work, I think for the oil and gas industry, it's going to be a fairly fast turnaround from all indications.